And we are back. And we are back. All right. As everybody streams back in, I put the message in the old joint, letting everybody know I had to bring up a new stream. This is the part 2. This is further letting me, when you start seeing things no longer as a distraction or a deflection, is what I was getting into earlier. When you start seeing things that are no longer as a distraction, they're always going to be a sign. This is a sign from me that this mess up with the stream. The old stream is still active, but I can't close it out until this video. I have to be done with this video for that to, it's going to work. It's working itself out behind the scenes. When you're coming into this higher aspect of your truer self, your truer knowledge, your truer knowing. So if you're on this one right here, if you're on this stream, put a message on the old stream because that action board is still active. That comment chat feed is still active. Click on part 2. Click on part 2. Just tell them to click on part 2 for me so we can get into our shit. Go to the old stream, go click on part 2, click out of that one, allow yourself to go out of that one, and then go into this stream. And then we can go into our continuance. But I'm going to continue building onto that. I'm going to take my hit while that's happening. A moment like this is letting me know that I need to go more live. I need to go more into that in-person aspect. But this aspect of learning, this is what teaches you. Bobby Hemming was always talking about putting things into your favor. No matter what happens, it's always a favorable position. It's telling me from a favorable position to keeping myself in favor. It's telling me when I click on the link, it tells me that the video has been removed. I can't see anything. I just fixed it. Click on the new link that I just created. Now we're helping people out as we go one person at a time. That's how you know motherfuckers are actually listening to what you're saying, because they're actually, what the hell's going on? I don't understand what's going on. But you take this aspect into yourself, coming into your higher self of understanding, and you start looking at these things. This is you putting things into your favor. My lower self or my older self, based upon my identity and my ego, if I was in that space, my mind would literally go to the aspect of feeding a thought form of, oh, you know, niggas out here and you know, they trying to stop you whenever you putting out that information. Nigga, that ain't gonna stop me. If my mind's stuck within the distraction of them motherfuckers trying to stop something, then I won't create another stream and know how to go forward. That's the mind frame of putting things into your favor. They can continuously do the things that they're going to do. They can continue to keep trying to usher in based on that rhythm, based on that algorithm, but it will no longer exist at the higher level. It no longer exists at the higher level. Yeah, okay, y'all still hear me. I'm good. It no longer exists at this level. That's what's coming in. That's what's being ushered into this moment and ushered into this phase. The old things are no longer going to be able to work at this level. The old statutes of limitations, that old bell about liberty, the old thing about independence, the old thing about freedom, it don't exist at this level because it's a different You have to be within a different mindset to even tap into that light of understanding what the fuck else is going on to the next level. If your mind frame is still stuck within the filters and the deflections of your old self, this shit's gonna hurt. This shit's gonna hurt. If your mindset's still stuck on trying to get things the way that you used to get them, this shit's gonna hurt. That's what the retrograde is. That's what that flirt. That's what that aspect of you coming into your new energy is. That's the aspect of you coming into your new self. You need the old infrastructure to fall apart. Because if you allow your stuff to stay within the old confines of the old infrastructure based upon your identity, then everything you're gonna do, everything that you can come into in that nuance of yourself is going to hurt by nature. It's gonna be like, oh my God, it hurts. I don't understand how this is happening. I don't understand how this is working out. I don't understand this. I don't understand that. Because you're within conflict. One of the biggest things that I work with when it comes to that aspect is acknowledging the conflict. You have to acknowledge the conflict in order to take yourself forward. If you're not acknowledging the conflict, what the conflict is, if you're not acknowledging the conflict, then how can you resolve the trauma? How can you take that energy and take yourself to the next level? You'll be stuck within the, I'm just trying to get to the next level phase. I'm just trying to get to this. I don't understand how all this going on. How can I go to the next level? Because you're now stuck within the conflicts. Grab a bottle of water real quick. Because your mentality stuck within the conflicts of everyday humanity. So since you're stuck within the conflicts of everyday humanity, how you're going to survive, you can't tap into how to survive. This is what's matriculating. You sat down, like for me, I was sat on my ass for 30 days. And I had a decision to make within those 30 days. What the fuck am I going to do with all this time? Everything that I've been talking about, everything that I've been speaking on up to that point, in order for it to be ignited, decided on that point in time when I was actually sitting there on my ass. Everything was put to a head, and I had to make the decision, nigga, am I really about this? Or I remember having the consults and the downloads on my talks with my ancestors and the spirits. They were like, are you really about this? In this moment that you're in right now, are you really about this shit? We see you blossoming, we see you growing, and we see you hitting on key points, but are you really about this shit? Are you really about the aspect of there's no going back? Because after you start speaking from a certain level, you start speaking that spell. You have to understand that power of that spell, the spell power of what you're saying creates the algorithm for that thought to continuously exist. So every single time that I spoke, there's no going back. Laid the challenge of no going back. Everything that would come in front of me at first was a challenge for me to go back. Yep, you may need to go back because of this. You may need to go back because of this. You may need to do this. It's setting you in this tone of yourself to be like, am I really willing to step out here? Am I really willing to step out to this level at all costs? At all costs to my sanity. At all costs to what I believe was sane. At all costs to what I used to survive based upon it. That's the level that you're at. This is going to challenge if you're really putting in that work. This is going to challenge you in that customary way. Are you really putting in that fucking work? Are you really doing what you're needing to? Are you really doing what the fuck it is that you need to be doing? Or are you just going to wear it as a badge? And this is the aspect of the separation that is needed. If you're stuck within choosing based on separation, you don't see that the separation is needed because you're stuck within the conflict of still trying to stay together. You can't imagine shit actually falling apart. No matter how many books you've read, you understand the history, the rises and the falls, shit burning and shit burning down, the chaos. You can't imagine that chaos. It's not imagining the chaos because you can see that fucking clearly. It's imagining what can happen afterwards. What are you doing in yourself to set this pace for when that shit happens? What a motherfucker's gonna gravitate towards? Are they gonna gravitate towards more of the fucking same? Or are you gonna actually start, you know what? I don't need to be doing this anymore. This only served this purpose down here, this space for me to survive within this level. This only survived in this space for me to survive at a certain level. Everything else, me being stuck within this realm, me being stuck within this cipher of myself, being locked within my zodiac sign and what it told me what the fuck I was, and not understanding my north node, my south node, my rising and my lower. These are all concepts that I need to understand to break out of it. To become the whole, to embrace the entire zodiac. To become that God. To become androgynous. Bringing that shit together. Everything at this level is built to make shit stay down. You can hear that within the rim. You hear that within the hymns, within the church. Jesus, I don't have much to bring. Head ass. So you stuck within that. Or you want to be stuck within the rhythm with them? Or are you going to come to the next level? This is the rapture that they have been waiting for. But what they're waiting for, being stuck within that limbo of a rapture, not understanding that it's a spiritual aspect. They are devoid of the spiritual aspect, of untapping into the spiritual aspect, feeding on that spiritual aspect. So they're stuck within that space of, it's the end of the world, it means Jesus is about to come. And they're going to be waiting for Jesus to come. They're not putting in the work. They're not supposed to. They are the direct reflection and representation of you coming into your higher self. You are the Christ. You are what they are looking for. It gets real trippy when you think about it like this. If I am not me, I'm only projected here based upon the thoughts that I've created this form, this body of light that I've created, that I'm within. Everything that comes down is a projection into this body to do the things that it needs to do within this realm as I'm doing what I need to do. A different configuration of atoms. You can look at the atom structure, that string theory, go see string theory, Mandela effect, all of these aspects. All that's used to create the body that you inhabit, that created your human body. You stepping into your higher self, you realize that this is just an apparatus used down at this level. By you rising into you allowing your kundalini energy to rise, hit that pineal gland, open up that crown, open you up to that higher level. This is where you get motherfuckers that I do intuitive readings, I do the spiritual consultations, I do all of that. That's GottaCallAlchemistLLC.com. I do all of that in that process. I do the teaching, Chakra 666, so many other things. You can hit me up on that. Creating that entity, that energy, that force of energy. This is how powerful you are in your mind. Creating that force of energy, that substructure that I created an entity in the physical form, being the God Occult Alchemist LLC. I created a physical representation that embodies all of my energy, that embodies all of my energy with under that brand, with under that figurehead. From there, everything else is a stream of light that beams out of that based on my energy. I've learned how to I've learned how to tap into myself, unlock myself, do that shadow work, and then created an entity or a deity that is me. So creating this entity, now I have the podcast, I have the live aspect from the lectures, and we're going to be in person very soon. I have the aspects of Facebook when I do things on Facebook, when I do the things on Instagram, putting out content. I have multiple streams. From these multiple streams, since they're all coming from invoked energy of my wealth, my abundance, my prosperity, and they're all built within that entity naturally flourishes as it needs to flourish. It goes through every challenge that it needs to go through, but here's the difference. I'm not thinking about anything based upon the aspect of failure. I've created every scenario in my mind when it comes into regard for anything in my life. I've created multiple scenarios in my mind and how to defeat them. So my mind constantly looks, now my ego works for me. Because you kill your ego similar to, and it's another aspect. You being afraid of death, this is why you can't interface with the energy. This is why you don't interface with the spirits, because you can't celebrate death when it happens. You can't celebrate the transition, whether it's fake or not. You can't celebrate a transition, whether it's fake or not. Your subconscious does not know the difference. Your subconscious do not know the difference. That's why every time you go to the movie theater, if you look at Training Day and you watch Alonzo die, you watch Denzel die as Alonzo, in your mind, oh shit, Alonzo's dead. So now every time you watch the movie, you know at the end, Alonzo's about to die. Because for us having that soul, us being the gods and the goddesses, we understand the beginning, the middle, and the end. We're so far ahead that we're behind. We understand the beginning. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And we know that new ending is always going to be a new beginning because we can go there. We can graduate. Everything else has to go through that same process of accepting that there's a new beginning. There's a new time. There's a new moment. And there's a new fucking day. But it is not at this level. There is not going to be a kumbaya coming together at this level. There's not going to be this coming together of the masses and everybody speaking and everybody being in peace and in unity at this level. Until you come at peace with yourself. Until you become at peace with yourself, you cannot reflect that. But you have to come at peace with humanity has to fucking die. You have to come to peace that your ego has to die. You have to come to peace with these things, and these parts of yourself have to die off in order for you to go to the next level. Or else you're going to be sitting there every time you go to the dream world. Every time you go to the dream world, every time you go to the dream world, every time you go to the new space, every time you go to the new thing, every time you go to that new space, every time you go to that new reality, every time you go to that new level, you're going to be carrying on the same remnants of the shit that you didn't learn from the first time. Becoming the oppressor that your parents first were. not learning from the negatives and the positives of what happened before and seeing how it serves you. See everybody streaming in. As you come in, drop that ashe over there. If you are just coming in, do me a favor and jump to the other one. I think is still running as live. Type in the comments in the live chat on that one that it's moved. Tap on part 2. This is the part 2 stream. Do that for me so we can keep that flowing. And drop that out. Matter of fact, as you're coming in, I'm going to reiterate it. Go to the other live feed because it's still rating as live until I'm done editing it. So I go into the editing. Go to that one, that chat is still live. Type in there, go out of this one, go out of that part 1 and go into part 2. And as you do that, drop that ashe in that corner over there in the chats over on this one. So I know everybody's in sync. So we syncing up. But taking yourself to this thought process of yourself. You need to be challenged. You need to be challenged. You need the challenges. That's why within your life, whenever someone says, my man Derek Grace, follow him on IG, that I can't wait to meet that guy in person. And I know that's coming soon. But you take that aspect of you have to be yourself you have to allow yourself to step out into the discomfort in order to be challenged to go to the next level. You got to do it. Because if not, you're going to be stuck back here looking like a soldier of poverty, a soldier of humanity. You're not a soldier of humanity. Humanity, explained in the Gnostic text, is the most grotesque, the end all. The fact that you got to come down here and you got to eat, and the only way that you survive is by killing something, or you got to cut something off of its life force in order for you to live. That's what you're trying to get away from. That's why everything that has to come into play is coming into play, and you need to take the information from where it is, study all and follow none in order to step to that next level. Because if not, you're going to be doing the same shit. You're going to be doing that same old song and dance, that same old I'm sorry, I'm mad at the fucking world type shit, and not understanding and embracing what you need to embrace. So when it comes to going into your higher self and being stuck, this is why you get stuck. This is the aspect of why you get stuck. This is why motherfuckers think the ancestors are mad at them. Because they don't have the confidence to actually accept that it's not that there's nothing mad at you. It's something that you haven't let go of. When that triggered, I guess they're mad at me, they don't want to speak to me. It's because you're not doing what you need to do to get to them. You're not allowing what needs to come up to come up. You're not handling your business. You're not putting in your work. That's why every motherfucking retrograde motherfucker talk about I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling like this. I had a moment where I felt tired, but I rode that wave. I rode the wave of being tired. I think it was on Tuesday. No, Wednesday. Wednesday, the reason I didn't do a meditating elevate on Wednesday on my Facebook Live and IG. I didn't. I stayed in bed. I took a spiritual check of myself, closed my eyes, took my 3 deep breaths, and I marked my body. I was looking at myself. I was seeing what was in balance. Took that good moment of time to see what was in balance. I got to my crown. I was like touching on my hair. Mind you, I'm outside of my body, touching on my body, touching my hair. So it was a very intimate moment with myself. I'm touching myself. I'm like, yeah, it's time to get this done. When I woke up, when I came back into the physical world, I was like, all right, yeah, it's time for me to it's time for me to take it to that next level as we playing with the music. You know, I like that. You know, I like my tones in the background. It give me that drive. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's time for me to get this done. My crown is not right. I gotta retune my antennas. As I'm going through the process of tuning my antennas when I was at the shop, I allowed through every process. This is how you're interfacing with your spiritual, your live spiritually. This is how you operate in both. This is how you're able to operate in both realms and not get stuck in this realm. Not get stuck on the things that are happening in the day to day. I'm sitting there. My stylist is having an entire conversation about everything that she's coming into, changing and these changes and all this. And I'm standing in my shit. And as she's doing that part, she's literally doing the lock repair. Locks that were matted together, that grew together, she separated, and we put in a new place with the new growth, attended to the new growth, added the pieces that we needed to do up there. So that was that first part of the conversation. The second part of the conversation is when I was getting my hair washed. Real time shit. When I was getting my hair washed the first time, I was about to get my hair washed. I was like, wait, we're going to do the new color. So we went back to the chair, applied the new stuff for the new color, applied the strip agent, the natural stripping agent. So the new color would adhere. I like this color. The new color would adhere. And then I sat under the dry for 30 minutes. She had some packages come through. She had to go deal with her kids. She had to do all her little shit over there. But that moment, I had a moment of reflection. I'm sitting there to myself, taking pictures, doing whatever I need to do. And then boom, now I went to the washer. Now, as I'm getting my hair washed, I automatically put myself into the visual of everything that was holding on or holding back into that aspect. I was allowing to wash away. I was allowing all of the old locks to wash away. All the old energy that was within the old locks to wash away. All that washed away. In order, it had to be stripped. Then we went back to the chair. We applied the color, got back under the dryer, allowed it to adhere. Went back to the bowl, did the second wash. The second wash was was washing myself in the abundance of the new energy that I was coming into. This is how you are living spiritually, taking every moment and putting it into a favor for you to actually do work. This is the aspect of being open and vulnerable to the learning. I can take every moment and use it as work because I'm open to the learning aspect first. I'm always going to be learning something. So I sat back in the bowl, my head back, you washing out, add the conditioner, whatever, add the conditioner and the sealing agents, then went back to the chair, retwisted the locks. All she could say within that space was like, damn, your shit's growing, your shit is grown. All you need is to just keep applying. Then she gave me the new measures, what I needed to apply to as my new hair growth. Left from there, took my nice little walk, had my alpha moment. I was sitting there thinking to myself as I'm walking back to my house, walking back to my crib. If I was still in certain positions and structures or infrastructures of my old self based upon my identity, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. One second. Okay, we back. If I was still within the old self parts of myself, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. If I did not make that step to move. If I did not allow the calamity and the chaos between my cousin and we trying to build something over there in that substructure to come to pass. What was that? Magic flashlight ready? Warning. Ooh. If I did not allow those things to come to pass, I would have not been able to step out of that position. I'd be stuck within that position. I'd be stuck within that focus. I'd be stuck within that phase of myself. I'd be stuck in it. I couldn't move forward. I had to allow that space, that gap to actually happen. Because from that gap, when I came to my new space, and then I started building from my new space of saying, you know what? I was already in a tune. And this is how shit starts to fucking work. This is how the thing starts to matriculate. I was already in the space of doing Facebook Lives every day that I rose and woke up. By the time I got to work, I always get to work early because I had to hop on a bus, and the bus would be like minutes super fucking early to get me to where I need to get to. So I'm at work. So I always go to Walmart. This is my normal ritual. Go to Walmart. I will either go get my black glove, buy my gloves, go get me some fruit, go get my fruit, go get my little offering that I would like. There was a tree across it. It was like a tree that I always went to that reminded me of my grandmother. Or there was one tree that reminded me of my grandmother, one reminded me of my aunt. No, one was my father, and one was my these are the two staples from my masculine and feminine aspect. One was my father, one is my father, the other one is my grandmother. The grandmother tree was bigger than my father tree because my father was just coming into the spiritual aspect. My grandmother was already in it, but I didn't know how deep. So every morning I took my grandmother loved apple fritters for no fucking reason. So I take a bite of the apple fritter. I eat the apple fritter. We have two. Put one under the tree. Then my pops, he always fuck with apples. Put an apple under the tree or orange under the tree, and I take my ass on. I come over here. I come to my little sitting space in front of this fucking restaurant. Sit there. Say, okay, I'm about to go live. As I kept going live, my talks, everything I was speaking on kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper in content. The first one I did was Where's Home. After I did Where's Home, I did Angels versus Demons. After I did Angels versus Demons, I did Where's Home. Then I ended up doing Where's Home Part 2 when I got back to that crib. I kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. So I kept breaking the boundaries of 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour. So I was growing into confidence that my energy was like, yo, I actually am still speaking. My things are becoming longer because I am able to go more in depth because I'm removing myself from that fear aspect, the fear archetype. The more that I'm doing this work on myself, that's exactly what I'm speaking on at that point in time. Either I've done it or I'm doing it or I've been through it. This is that inspiration. This is the inspiration factor that naturally happens within inside you as you're stepping forward. This is the inspiration that you look for in the works that you're doing. As I'm starting to do this, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start my live page. Perfect time, the reaping full moon that came in 2019. No, it was 2019, the reaping moon that came up. My first lecture was the reaping. I was going through the aspects of what was draining me and understanding that. Then I started building and going up. You have to allow, as I started doing this, certain structures, certain parts of my infrastructure were losing power based upon my identity. There was a humility coming in every time it would get triggered. You can't do that because you know you got to go to work. You can't do that because you know you work that day. This is where that challenge came from. Either you're going to step forward and accept your challenge and put in the work to that challenge, or you're forever going to be stuck within that position. You're always going to be stuck within that space. So for me, I already started the process of no longer working the set days. I had to set a new schedule. The reason that my schedule went into play and there was no fight in my schedule coming into play of doing what I wanted to do. The reason that it came into play is because in my mind, I already set up either I have one or two choices. Either this shit gonna go through the way I wanted to go through, or I'm gonna separate myself away from this. I was already mentally challenged. I was already mentally building myself and putting myself in a position to step away. There's no going back. Already was in that position. That's that mindset. There's no going back. There's no safety net. I'm walking away from my safety net. I'm walking away from what is feeding me, and I'm allowing my ego to starve within that humility. I have the humility in myself that no longer feeds me. Your ego is going to then put up every reason for you to stay within that position. This is a very big moment when you're talking about entrepreneurship. The ultimate entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur is owning your own name. It's owning your own name. Biggest, strongest thing about being an entrepreneur. But the truest aspect of owning your own name, that's something that you got to tap into yourself. So take it to that aspect, going to the next level. Until February 14th, I did Heart of Mine. February 14th, I did Heart of Mine. A year around every time February 16th came around, I always do my birthday. I always request that year before my birthday comes, my death day comes, to request that time off. I don't know what the fuck I'm about to do that week, the time that I take off. I just set the atonement that I need to take these days off. This is another aspect of learning. Forward thought. We do it all the time in planning unconsciously, but we don't do it in that mindset of being conscious. Forward thought. We'll sit here and do it on mundane levels, such as, I took my birthday off because I'm about to go get lit. Or I did this because of this. But we're not taking that forward thinking into you got to take that forward thinking outside of logic and reason. There was no reason at that point in time, because the year before, in 2018, when I did my birthday, when I was doing my birthday that day, I made the plan that, Black Panther came out, and it's coming out on my birthday. Nipsey Hussle album dropped on my birthday. It's a momentous occasion. All I did for my birthday was went to the Mexican restaurant, drank 4 Patron margaritas, got me some vegetarian fajitas, took a couple of shots, and I was by myself, because the best company is with yourself. Got my little margaritas, and then I went to a hookah spot. After I went to the hookah spot, I called some of my peoples, and 2 of them showed up. One showed up, and it was a spiritual aspect, because it was my homegirl. She showed up, because it was like the only person I actually texted that I actually expected, that I knew would come. She showed up. Towards the end, she came in towards the end part. We had like an hour to chill, but that was a spiritual aspect. The feminine aspect came into usher in at the end of my night, the end of that night being 12, your birthday's supposed to be over. That 12 o'clock moment hit, and I had a feminine energy beside me to usher in that I am now stepping into another solar return. So that became that aspect on that level. So I'm starting to see things. Now that I can go back at these things, I can start to go between, is that spiritual? Is that not spiritual? What does this mean? What does that mean? I can actually start going down the lines of seeing it is. So I came into that aspect. So we're talking about my birthday. So my birthday came this year. The beginning of this year, I requested them days off. I set the lecture. I knew I was going to do it on February 14th. Before that, I did all the work that I needed to do to absorb all of that energy from everybody wanting to run around and that aspect within that aspect of what they use it for. I reversed it and used that energy for myself. Going forward, I remember my days were requested. I got my days off. That's how the spirit worked. Gave my days off. The challenge was my GM at the time. She was like, I need you to work. I was like, well, if you're going to pay for this, this, and this, then I mean, yeah, then I'll. But if you're not willing to do that, I have something I have to do. I made these plans. I put this shit together. Her aspect was like, you have to talk to the area director. My area director was another feminine aspect, feminine archetype. She's another feminine archetype. She was actually an Aquarius. My area director at the time, she was an Aquarius. So I'm sitting there to myself, my GM does not think that I'm gonna have that conversation with my area director. I get to the house, I text my area director, I call her first, she don't answer, I send her a text, I leave it in the wind. I say, one way or the other, this might be another moment in time. I got two choices. Either I'm gonna show up to work, or that's gonna be the end of it. How the spirit works. This is how that spiritual part works. So I'm sitting there like, all right. I walk into work. All my GM tells me is, let me know when you gotta leave. I can see the sadness in her face. Like, damn, I thought he was gonna stay. I thought it was gonna work in her. She thought it was gonna work in her favor. Nah. 6 o'clock hit. I said I could stay till about 6:15. That gave me enough time to get to the house, shower up, and sit down and drop the lecture. What that showed me was like, yo, I can literally do anything as long as my intention and my energy is fully in it. This is that breakthrough. These are those breakthrough moments that hit you. Like, I knew that I could do anything if my energy was fully within it. Came in, did the lecture, did the question and answer, did the whole period, went from there. After that day, I think it was like a full moon coming up after that. After that day, everything started lining up, and I started to be able to see the alignments in what everything that I was wanting to do. So when we're at this moment, now I'm at this moment right now, I've been right in alignment the entire time. Devoid of any, I'm aware of all the distractions, but I know how to feed from it. That's the aspect that you got to get into in unlocking yourself, and learning how to feed from every situation that comes into play in order for you to step to your next level. Every action, everything that's coming into play, you have to learn how to use it in your favor. It's all energy. It can be manipulated once you learn how to manipulate it. Once you understand the substructure and the algorithms on that level, just like when people talk about IG and now they got 50 motherfucking different programs telling you you can reprogram the algorithm. That's the intellectual process of keeping this shit sustained. That's what they're telling you. But you won't think about it because you're looking for some grand scheme, when in reality, they really can't do anything outside of what? Give you a phone, give you a upgrade to a phone, give you a new television, give you a new car. If they really could do what they said they were going to do, why wouldn't they do it? It goes into the same thought process. If you ask somebody a question and they give you 1,000,001 answers, if they really were going to do what they said they were going to do, and they let you down, what is that showing you? This is how you bring it in your favor. What is it showing you? They didn't have the knowledge. If they don't have the knowledge, they can't apply it. Therefore, they don't have the drive. If they don't have the drive, so if they don't have the knowledge to apply the fuel for that drive, how can they initiate anything? In order for them to get that knowledge, they have to step out of their comfort zone. In order for them to get that drive, you got to step out of that comfort zone. In order for them to initiate anything, they got to step out of that comfort zone. Whenever I'm talking about, whenever I'm speaking on the aspect of your energy being in a positive source or being in a positive force of energy, you being from that higher source of self, when you step forward within that higher force of yourself, that higher self sense of yourself, and you're embracing yourself and you're changing your ways and you're evolving, if you're continuously going back to the lower frequencies based upon not wanting to separate, you wanting to share and wanting to save, every time you go down there, your positive energy feeds that negative space. It can't die. You continuously keep giving birth to the same situation because you're the spark giving the birth to the same situation. That's what you're seeing every day outside of you. The infrastructure is falling apart and it needs you to keep recharging it. It needs your focus. This is the aspect of understanding that it's a spiritual war. It's a spiritual war in the aspect of intelligence versus intellect. Every time that they get to a point of intellect or something that's advanced past them, they'll say it's extraterrestrials. They'll say it's aliens. You're the alien. You're the extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial means external terrain. You can travel to an external terrain that they cannot travel to. You can go into an external terrain that they cannot go into. There's people in your life right now that cannot go into the external terrain because they're afraid. They do not understand that the things that are within inside them will help them get to the things that are allowing to be burdens on their heart, keep them from going into that terrain. That's different. To adapt to that tread. That's what's happening right now in real motherfucking time. For the motherfuckers of Jesus, this is their rapture. They're going to wake up the next morning and they're going to be stuck within the rapture mindset until something down here changes to make it look like it's something new. But they're going to wake up to the same old conflicts. They're going to wake up to the same old conflicts. They're going to wake up to the same old food. They're going to wake up to the same old bullshit. Because they won't be able to use what's in that environment to take themselves to the next level. Because they don't understand how to invoke their energy and make it move forward. They don't understand that evoking process. This is the key to unlock all the mini locks. One key, mini locks. Skeleton key. To unlock that, and once you unlock this, once you get this into your mind, once you allow that light to get in there for real and actually start matriculating and working and cultivating, all this other shit's a cinch. My automaton has everything that it needs at the moment that it needs it. Has everything that it needs. I need not, want not. Anything that I want, I create. I create a space in a tether to go towards it. There's nothing in front of me that will stop me to get to a certain level. The only thing that can stop me, and it's the aspect of reflection, in Catalyst, me being open, me being vulnerable to the learning and to the aspects of the challenges that come in front of me, I can face those challenges. Anything that's supposed to be coming to me in that level in retrospect, so I say like, I've used the example the entire time. So I use the example of the conversation that I had with my barber yesterday. That conversation would not have happened within the space because he was not in a space where he could be humble to receive the information. That space that he was in at first, we cannot converse at this level or at a similar level because his space was not of humbleness to match him. So now we can have that conversation. You have to allow that humility to your heart to release that burden of saying, these things no longer fit me. These things no longer are beneficial to me. This is what I did based upon that knowledge, letting that go. Because once you do this, once you step into this phase, once you step into that mindset, once you step into that reality of yourself, everything else changes as it needs to change. Everything flows as it needs to flow. Everything's moving as it needs to move. Are you? Everything's working as it needs to work. Are you? That's the key. I give you a skill. I bestow upon you a skull. I bestow upon you a skull that has a heart on it. With letting you understand that in order to die, you have to die to understand that the heart is the true mind. That means you have to kill the aspect of human thought. I just want you to think true thought from the heart to come into your knowing. That being the participle, the principle of what I do, that's why everything that I do stands on that. If you cannot get past the context of, you can't get past the context of how it's being given to you, that's just showing you something that you got to work on. But this is that space that you need to be in that's going to humble you, whether you want to or not. I had a conversation. I was in my text message. I was going through my Facebook yesterday, and there was a post. I understood the post. Everybody that clicked in on the post understood the post, except for one guy didn't understand the post. I watched as he texted everything that he said and typed everything in that he said. After he said he was done, I interjected, spoke my piece in bringing clarity to the space. That's putting in work. That's the reflection of you putting in your work. At a point in time, this is how you know when you need to jump. This is how you know when the spirit is going to move you into the space based upon what you do, based upon your challenges. It's easy for somebody to say, yeah, I can give you this and do this for you. But it's a whole different mind state that I have to be in when I'm having the conversations based on when I'm doing the consultation. After I'm doing the reading, then I do the consultation. Then I'm setting up the classes and the counseling. Then I'm setting it up and going forward. That's an ongoing process. In order for me to be within that process, I have to meet the challenges within that process because I've set that tone and unlocked that door. If you're not willing to put in that fucking work, don't unlock the fucking door. But do not get mad at what fumes come out of that door. You have to accept it for what it is. And that's what a lot of people are doing when they get to a certain point in their spiritual self, in that wokeness, and they're binded to what they know intellectually, but they're not willing to apply it to go to the next level because they don't want to be seen as another initiate. I love going through the initiate to the master, to the next, to the mat. I love going from the initiate as the student to the teacher, to the new student, to the new teacher, to the new student, to the new teacher, to the new master. I love that shit because I'm studying all and following none. I'm mastering all. I'm mastering each one of these aspects of myself. But you got to allow your heart to open. Because if not, you're going to be stuck looking back at yourself, have come back down here with baby brain. I don't know how else I can say you're going to be coming back down here with baby brain. All over again. I don't plan on coming back here. That's why I chose the time that I woke up. I chose the time to come down here. I'm fully aware of the time that I chose. I unlocked my Akashic records through the meditation, looked at the ones I had. Oh, damn, that makes sense. That's why I went through that. That's why this happened, because I didn't do it before. Because as you're stepping through your level, this is what happens. But it gets deeper. If you did not tune into this week's episode of the podcast, the God Hour podcast, it is available on multiple platforms, including Spotify, iTunes. I'm working out the deal for Tidal now. Okay, they just started doing podcasts on there, actually doing that. So I got to do a couple more on that. The way that I get to Tidal and that main PlayStation is more through more plays and more support. So tune into the podcast. It drops a new episode every Tuesday. We in season 2. We just did episode 19, affirmation, deflection disorder. It ties into the lecture for the night. Tune in, tap out, allow that shit to penetrate. Be open, allow that shit to penetrate. If you are resignated in that you need that service, or you think of somebody that might need a service, Godical Alchemist, LLC.com. It's in the part 1 description, I'll have it in this description as well. Godical Alchemist, LLC.com for all of the services, guided meditation. I actually have to update a couple things on there, but everything's still on there. All the descriptions are still the same. Guided meditation, natal chart analysis, readings. Everything can be done through there. Everything's done via Zoom or Skype if you're not local or not in person, so we can do it from there. Occult Alchemy, myshopify.com for shirts like the Trippy Guy shirt. I got a couple other things coming to that. Occult Alchemy, myshopify.com. You can email me at setcallernegus@gmail.com or papalucy666@gmail.com. Hit the line 910-777-7708. You can call or text. Send that text first, because you know niggas don't answer the phone if they don't know the number. Send the text first, then I'll send you a text back or I'll call you back. We set up the consultation, set up a reading, set that up and get you started in the right direction. And as always, Lucifer Somni, I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support from any level. Everything is showing me support in me growing in what I'm doing and going further. It's setting that algorithm, setting that manifestation in place. When you do that donation, think about the donation being like this. You are seeding the manifestation, and that you're in alignment with the manifestation. So the humbleness of your heart tends you to support. Just like that same humbleness, the same humbleness that's in your heart led you to this lecture, whether you knew or old. It led you to this information. It led you to this light. Through all that darkness that you've been streaming through, it led you to this light. So Lucifer Somni is the Cash App link. Occult Alchemy, myshopify.com. That's the store. Godical Alchemist, LLC.com. That's the search for the services. The number is 910-777-7708. The email addresses are papalucy666. That's the number 6 3 times @gmail.com. papalucy@gmail.com. papalucy666@gmail.com. setcolonies@gmail.com. Godical Alchemist, LLC.com. If you need it, come get it. I just want you to be the best. I love y'all. We love us. Oh, yeah. Facebook, Rod Colonijas. Instagram, papalucy666. You can reach me in the DM in the inbox from there. Yeah. I'm going to vibe out and allow myself to let this energy keep flowing. But I love y'all. We love us. The next step is the best. The next step is the best. How Drake said, your next move ain't better than your first move. Your last move ain't better than your first move. So every move that you step forward in is your best move. Everything after that is a reflection of your best move. So are you doing the work? Are you serving or you becoming? Put that thought in your head. Let it do what it need to do. Like, share, subscribe. I love y'all. We love us. I share. Okay, it stopped it, I think. Okay, and that. Why are you doing this to me? All right. I clearly ended the stream.